ASA NAT. Why we need a basically NAT actually? NAT, we know we address translation from the private to public actually. So ASA has a different types of NAT. It has a dynamic NAT, it has a PAT, static NAT. What is the difference between the connection and translation? These are the objectives we have. So ASA NAT overview. Types of NAT deployment. We have inside NAT, outside NAT, bidirectional NAT. Here you can see. Okay. So inside NAT, when the traffic is coming from the private to the public network. Outside NAT, when somebody is from the outside, try to access any internal services. Okay. Bidirectional NAT mean basically both the parties can initiate the traffic, not just one. Okay. What is the NAT or PAT? In dynamic NAT group of the real IP addresses are mapped to multiple IP addresses. Here you can see what is it a NAT or PAT? Is it a PAT? Okay, one IP. What is the IP address of the source? Just inside is 10.1.1.1.1, maybe different ports. And what is this? 209.165, 201.1, 201.1, and these are the different ports. So there is one IP, but multiple hosts inside. This is a PAT, port address translation, because the uniqueness is in the port. Or we can configure the NAT actually. So let me open the spreadsheet we have. If you look at this PAT IP, so we have assigned the IP address 201.254.120. Let's check where this is. 201.254.120. That's our internet side IP connected to the internet side. If you look at this, 201.254.1, this is the next hop IP, and the firewall IP is 201.254.120, and that's the network. So how we can apply the NAT? We can apply the NAT two way by using the command line. So what is the impact right now? If you look at this right now, if I browse any internet connection, if I browse any internet, your internet is not working from the internal network, from the desktop machine. If you go to the Instagram, for example, look, the connection is trying to build, but it is denied actually. Okay. So basically you are trying to 8.8.8.8 because whenever you browse the internet, it is trying to resolve the IP address. Okay. And that IP address is not resolved at the moment. And the other problem is you are in the private range 10.1.121 or 21.100. This is the private. Once it's reached to the firewall need to NAT. Firewall need to change the IP address. This IP, the firewall change the IP from here, and the outside world will be seeing that they are not talking to 10.1.21. It will be translated into IP address 201.254 network. Okay. So how we can apply this? By using, so basically, as we said before, we use the objects, and these objects can be used in the not only in the access list, but it is also used in the NAT configuration as well. So basically, if you look at this, there we can create a range as well, or we can create, object is already created. Now we can go into the objects and we say NAT inside, outside, dynamic, public. So basically, this is first of all, we created an object for the private IP, public IP, and then we created another network with the private range you have, and then we actually referring to our objects here. Let me just show you. It's a very simple, just show you here. Okay, I'm just going into the NAT. So if you want to apply the NAT right now, you can go into the NAT objects. Look at this. This is my public IP. This is my private range. And there is a NAT here. Look at this. Pat. And what is the IP address you want to use? Okay. So basically what I have done is I went inside the objects and I said NAT any to the internet side. Dynamic internet interface. Okay. And which interface? You can do two ways. One is, this is a very easy way. You go on into the objects. Okay. The easiest way is the objects previously created for your LAN address. This 10.121. Okay, open it. By default, the NAT is not enabled. You will see like this. Click this NAT and select this dynamic NAT, and you will be translating into the interface. Which interface will be used for that? This one, yeah. So now if I browse the network right now, let me see if the internet works or not. Why the internet is not working? You can see this is the problem here.
The public
because of
private
the access
IP
list, my friend.
Okay.
Because NAT is there, NAT is working, right? Okay, this is important troubleshooting where you can go into here, packet tracer. Okay, you are selecting the interface where the traffic is coming from, 10.1.21.100, and going into 8.8.8. So you see, it is dropping because the access list has no entry. When the traffic is entering, look, as we apply the access list at this interface inside 21. Remember that. This interface is checking who is the source, where they want to go in, is the traffic is allowed or not. We applied the NAT, but we have not updated the access list. So along with the access list, we need to make sure our access rule is also allowed. As of now, we only allow 10 to
DMZ network.
DMZ, right? We haven't allowed anything. So let me just create one insert. So source will be my traffic will be. Similarly, you will be selecting your source.
Right.
Destination will be any, because on the internet side we don't know. Services are. You can put the services as a HTTPS, HTTP and HTTPS. For the
destination, can't we select internet on the destination? If you just click on the destination drop down menu. Yes, please.
Sir, one second, sir. Okay. What do you want to say?
Yeah, destination, because we are going to public. So if you select the public.
Destination can be any, my friend. This access list. Don't worry about anything. This is not interface. This is the destination criteria. So this is my source. I am creating an access list. If the traffic is coming from this source, from this network, and it can go anywhere. When you're talking about the internet, that's the destination is not mentioned. It can be anything. Facebook, YouTube, all those, Amazon, all of them.
Okay.
So Echo is one of them. We can multiple services we can apply. we can say TCP echo reply. We can apply the, for example, HTTP. Come on. And also the HTTPS. So basically, I am just applying this to traffic coming from any source. Okay, from a LAN address going to anywhere. For these HTTP, HTTPS, just make sure it is allowed. The NAT will just do the translation. It doesn't mean that automatically if you applied the access list, then you must need to allow that traffic in the access list as well, when the traffic is hitting to that interface. Now I'm going into okay. There is a problem. Why? Please troubleshoot that. The internet is not, if the internet is not working, the first thing you need to do, NS lookup. Okay. So you see NS lookup. Your DNS is not working. Look at this. My DNS is not working at all. Look, 8.8.8, port 53. Have we allowed port 53, by the way, guys?
No.
No? So shall I just include the port 53 here?
Yes, sir.
Done? And now let me try this. See, it is resolving the IP. And when I go to my connection and I try to PayPal, that PayPal is now working. Okay, the Google is working. Everything is working, right? Hotmail is working. And you will see the numbers of connection will be there. See how many connections we have. This is stateful firewall. Okay, show exit. Show exit will show you the translation occur from source. Okay, from this IP address will be hidden under this. So outside world recognize this. Okay, another thing you can do, rather than you can actually add the domain here. Okay, you can create one more rule on the top. Or you can create an access list, you can enable it. For example, you can create an object groups. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you click use, if it's not shows you use, if you click, for example, here and you say where it is used, it shows you which rule it is actually applied to. Yeah. And if you want to create another object groups, you can say DNS 4.4.4 host, because that's just one host. Okay. And now you can create a new rule here on the top. Copy. And then say paste. Okay. And not just 8.8.8.8 and 4.4 as well. And services domain. So basically on the rule on the top, we just created for the domain, HTTP, and others as well. Okay, clear? So now this rule, okay, let me try the traffic again. So you can see that there will be a lot of hits now for domain separate and others are separate. Right? Is it clear now? So that rule will be for DNS, that rule will be for the, and you can put some kind of comments as well. Normally in the live environment, you can put some kind of ticket number. So you see this, for this rule, you can also put some kind of description. Okay. Done. Clear? So now you can see these are the top 5 rules here you can see. But make sure we have applied this to internal interface. Any question?
So far, so good.